And through the magic of editing, Blake has now had us hooked up with the great Brandon Aubrey. He's at the Star.
Oh yeah.
Just got
Thank
done
you.
with practice.
Oh yeah. And our little recovery day. I'm sitting in our awesome sports psychiatrist's office. She stepped out for me, which is awesome. Give me a nice quiet space here.
Boy, I never thought about it, but I bet she does quite a bit of work with the kicker.
Not so much with me. I kind of had my training before I got here, but I imagine most kickers. I definitely think it's something you need to have a game plan for. And if that's not an area you're strong in, then you got to figure it out quick because the pressure is really tough here, just for all NFL kickers.
I would imagine quarterbacks maybe, but then like goalies and pitchers.
Yeah, it's a good comparison. Goalkeeper, soccer, you're kind of doing your own thing in practice. You're your own little special unit over there. You're using your hands instead of your feet, where I'm using my feet instead of my hands. So very good comparison. And then you come into practice for like whatever drills they need a goalie for, and then you go out on your own and continue to kind of do your own thing. And as a field player, we all kind of thought the goalkeepers lived in their own world. It's kind of the same thing for a specialist.
So I will ask you, just because it's November 1st, I have to ask you obligatory Halloween question, like if you did anything on Halloween, but I know you have a little tiny baby, so I don't know that you dress up a little tiny baby.
Did you go as a juror?
Yeah. No, he was the gavel.
Nice.
We didn't do anything for Halloween. My wife actually is a maid of honor in a wedding tomorrow, so she had a rehearsal dinner. I was supposed to go. I ended up having some sort of virus yesterday, so I was out of commission. So I was just in bed for like 6 to 6 yesterday.
Damn, you've had quite a few weeks here.
Yeah, I'm just, I think just the long hours of last week and the stress running all over the place kind of got me run down. And, it's flu season, so there's a bunch of viruses going around out there. And I just happened to catch one when my immune system was probably weaker than it usually is. So it took me out for about 12 hours there. Was running a little fever and was contagious. So I didn't want to get bride and groom sick on wedding day.
And are you going tomorrow?
Yeah, it's today. Wedding's today. So yeah, I'm going.
Jeez, man,
I feel good today.
Okay, I would totally understand if you would say, "Hey, I can't do it this week," and here he is. It's very cool of you to give us a few minutes of your time.
No, absolutely.
So I appreciate that. But all right, so yeah, then you have a wedding to go to, and then what's your travel schedule like when you're going to Atlanta?
We just come in Saturday early morning and get our normal practice routine in, and then head home for about an hour. Say bye to the family, drive over to the airport, and head out around 2. Then from there we got a noon game, which is nice. We kind of just wake up and get to the stadium, which get the game over with pretty much right away, which does not happen often for us Cowboys. We usually have at least 3:30 kickoffs, and pretty sure every game on the road this year has been prime time. So this will be nice to get home before 4 a.m. The next day.
So let's just start from the start. I mean, I know I saw some quotes from John Machota yesterday. Did you do like a full media yesterday, or was it just kind of a quick thing?
I was supposed to hang out with the media after practice, but I kicked my field goals in practice, and that's when I started feeling really run down. And I just kind of went straight to the training room, and I had a fever and was told I was contagious. So the media team ran over some questions to me with a recorder, and I just kind of answered them there, and then went home. So yeah, I missed out on the actual face-to-face media interactions.
Okay, but I did get a little bit of that from Machota's quote. So as far as jury duty goes, and obviously say what you can say, don't say what you can't. My wife was on a jury recently, and it was so frustrating to me because she really was serious about it. I'm like, come on,
Yeah.
just tell me. Like, tell me what's up. And she's like, I can't. And she was there for, like a week and a half, and she just wouldn't tell me what was going on. But so you'd been called before and it had it pushed back, and then this time that was not an option?
Yeah, so they called or they sent me the summons during training camp, and you get a 90-day window to push it back. So I pushed it back. And then when the next one came for me, I called, but you're only allowed to push it back once. So it's kind of tough luck. I figured in consulting with my sister-in-law, who is a DA for Dallas, she's a prosecutor for Dallas, you're not going to get picked. You're a public figure, and you have me and in your background. Your brother is also a lawyer. I told him my favorite show is Dateline. I told him cops are way more believable than your average people in testimony. I tried, but tried to be respectable. And when you walk in there and the judge calls you out by name right away, and everyone kind of then knows who you are, you can't be a total psychopath to get out of it.
Oh, so people did right away. I mean, I think a lot of cities, maybe the kicker doesn't immediately clock as everybody knows the guy, but in Dallas, and it's you. So is there a murmur in the crowd, or I don't know? It just seems.
I wouldn't say that, because it wasn't until the judge we're going around asking for conflicts, and I put my hand up, and he said, "We'll come back to you, Brandon," and went around the room and asked everyone for their conflicts, and then I still had my hand up, came back to me, and without me saying anything, said, "We don't meet on the weekend, so you won't have any conflicts. You'll be able to get over to San Francisco pretty easily."
Oh my God.
So with all that stuff you just laid out, how do you get picked? Did you ask your sister-in-law? How did this happen?
My sister-in-law and brother are both dumbfounded, and they have a bunch of lawyer friends, and they said they were getting calls and texts from people all over that they went to law school with, that were in California and Utah, all over the place. How the heck did your brother get on? So it's it's just pretty. I had never thought it was going to happen, so I kind of just sat there, and they mentioned quiet jurors, or quiet people in jury selection end up being jurors, but I just figured I'm going to sit there and be quiet, because I feel like I've been coached that you're not going to get picked. So just don't make a fool out of yourself. Don't say something that's going to end up in the headlines, is what I was trying to do. Is just be a good, quiet person. That's all I wanted to do, and get out of there, get home.
It's the problem, we've talked about in dealing with athletes, whatever, man, he's a really good dude. The people they're selecting were we've just got to have him. I'm sorry, but we need a well put together individual here. We got to do it. So then, do you get out that day and just immediately call someone on staff?
Yeah, that's exactly how it went. When he called my name for the selection, and then he went through. We only had 13. Normally it would be 14. We had 12 with one standby, just in case somebody gets sick or something. When he called my name, I was my heart dropped. My stomach's oh gosh, this is going to be a nightmare for me. So as soon as I got out of there, I called the Cowboys and let them know, hey, they picked me. Is there any chance you can help me get out of this thing? And efforts were made, but court put its foot down and said, we got a criminal case here, so we need him.
This is the first time Jerry's ever been happy to get a call to say.
Yeah, right.
Usually it's late nights, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was the case?
It was a family violence strangulation case.
Oh my God.
Depressing stuff.
Yeah.
So dude with wife?
Dude with wife.
Okay.
And I will say, now that we're out of the actual trial and it's over, the judge did say we can talk about it. So I'll give you a little bit of detail, but it's actually pretty depressing and graphic to go into all the details. But just long story short, criminal record was pretty extensive for this guy, and seemed with beyond a reasonable doubt that he beat up his wife pretty good after getting out for about 30, 40 hours of prison. So he'd been in there before, and seemed like he was kind of in a hurry to get back.
Okay. Strangulation, you say, not a murder case?
No, and I will say the strangulation charges he was found not guilty of, but he was found guilty of assault.
Okay. What's the... So what is that like? Obviously, it was very fast, so it must have been like you said, pretty easily to determine this is beyond a reasonable doubt. because it's already over.
Yeah.
But like, are you the foreman? How do they come up with the jury foreman? How do you all do that?
No, we just kind of decided as a group. We had one lady who'd been on a jury before, and she talked a lot, so kind of just made her the four lady.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what they call it in there?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not very good on my politically correct terms, so.
No, you did good. You did better than Dan.
Yeah.
Poor lady.
So then, I don't even really know what they do. I mean, I know they're the one that delivers the verdict, but are they sort of guiding the conversation between you all, or?
Yeah. In our situation, no. It was kind of everyone was well put together, adult that has their own thoughts pretty well mapped out, and we just kind of sat down in a group and talked through it. There wasn't really one leading voice, one guiding voice. Just kind of put all of our opinions in there together and kind of narrowed down the range of punishment from one person was one extreme and somebody else was another extreme, and that was our range, and then kind of whittled it down to where we all felt comfortable somewhere in the middle of that. So really the only thing the four lady did was when the judge asked if we reached a verdict, she said yes, and then handed him the verdict card. That's about it.
How many days total in deliberation?
In deliberation, it was 20 minutes in guilt innocence phase, so we were quick on that. And
okay.
An hour and a half to 2 hours actually deciding the punishment.
How many days was this whole thing take from start to finish?
So Tuesday was the selection process, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday last week, and then Tuesday, Wednesday this week of actual jury. So 5 days, not 5 days of court and 1 day of selection.
So, I mean, Dan said when there's violence involved, it may seem like that was quick because we all think of like OJ, for example.
Yeah.
But when you get selected, are you thinking this is going to be something that drags on for basically 2 weeks of time?
No, the judge said it'd be done Thursday or Friday last week. So we thought it was going to be done real quick. It just kept dragging on. Then we kept getting kicked out of the courtroom just so the lawyers and the judge could talk about rules that they weren't really clear on, or evidence that they didn't want us to hear. I'm not sure why we were getting kicked out. They kind of did a little huddle session and whispered, and then all of a sudden, they'd go back to their spots, and the judge would look at the jury and be like, all right, there's something I need to discuss outside of or without y'all hearing it, so please exit. And we'd exit, and sometimes it would be 2-3 hours before we went back in there, just in the jury room, chit-chatting and banging our head on the wall.
A lot of phone games?
Yes, lots of phone games.
Do you get paid?
You do get paid like $56 a day.
All right.
Okay.
Sweet.
Lunch?
Yeah.
Is lunch paid for?
Lunch was not paid for, and we were downtown Fort Worth, though, so we got, in my opinion, excessive lunch breaks. It was an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes every day, so which is nice, but when you're trying to finish something up quick, you settle a 30-minute lunch break just to get back to it. I walked around downtown and found some restaurants, like grabbed some food, and then wandered back.
Did you then go home at night and practice kicking into a net or something?
No. So my normal kicking schedule is Wednesday, Thursday with the team, and obviously missed practice for court, which went 9 to 5. From downtown Fort Worth to our practice facility in Frisco is about an hour and a half drive at that time of day. So I got here around 6:40. And then I'd kick with our special teams coordinator on Wednesday, and our special teams coordinator and specialists, the punter and long snapper, stuck around on Thursday for me to give me some realistic work. But as things are here, our practice facility indoor is actually owned by the city, and we rent it out. So didn't have it available on Wednesday or Thursday. So kind of fighting the sunset on our outside field.
Although maybe advantage if you kick in the dark, and you're making those, then perhaps it's like running with a weight vest on.
Absolutely, yeah. It's really hard to see the ball at night, surprisingly. And for Banger to catch that ball, he did a really good job catching it in the dark. You could barely see it, and then put it down somewhere remotely close to the spot. And, I had no idea exactly where it was, but you just trust him that it's going to be where it needs to be and swing through that area. But yeah, it's like a little, just kind of look like you're staring at a big black canvas you can kind of see his fingers and understand where the ball should be, but couldn't really see where the ball.
So that week was the first time you saw the team Saturday, the day before the game.
Yeah.
And what's the reaction with the fellas like? I mean, is everybody asking you about it? Are there jokes? That's got to be a hot topic.
Mostly the staff was more curious than the players. They were all asking about it, and McCarthy had right when the team meeting started on Saturday, welcomed back our kicker from jury duty. Not too many jokes. Yeah, a lot of curious staff members, a few curious players, but at that point, I wasn't saying anything because I couldn't.
Wow.
It was a hot topic on Sunday Night Football with Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, yeah. Here's a guy who just came from jury.
They got the Law and Order theme playing, and they got the whole graphics of you wearing a robe or whatever.
Did they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to go back and watch that broadcast.
Yeah, I think when you guys are at home next, they've got to start playing the Law and Order, the dun-dun, like the sound, like every time the ball goes through the uprights.
Yeah, every PAT.
Yeah.
I need that.
I heard Brad Shan was calling me Judge Butter.
Okay. Like butter. I like it.
That's good.
I like it. Man, so for professional reasons, we were in court last summer, and that's the first time I'd ever been to court, really, for anything. And it was really strange to me how the attorneys on each side would talk to one another beforehand very friendly. And they would talk to the jurors, or it was friendly. And then when everything started, it was just like, okay, now we're in the mode. Yeah. And they would go at each other.
Kind of like Micah doing a jersey swap after the game.
Yeah, right. It's like, hey, we're still friends at the end of the day. We're in the same field. Did you see any of that but I guess if you have family in the legal field, you were used to this, of just how it all unfolds. We were not used to that at all.
It's just like it's like a game day where you're going out and playing the other team. No personal feelings about it. They're doing their job. You're doing your job. Both sides want to win, but at the end of the day, you have respect for them. They're just doing the job. So you go maybe break bread with them or change jerseys or just kind of tell them good job at the end of the day. Imagine it's like that in most competitive environments. And the lawyers on both sides of our case were very professional, even throughout the proceedings, objecting to something, instead of like slamming their hands on the table and saying this is BS. They just very politely said objection under this rule, and then the judge would ask to see it, and the prosecutor would grab it from the defense attorney, and the defense attorney would make sure to hand it to her. It's very professional. That's all I'm saying, and not a lot of actual arguing. Just that doesn't follow this rule.
And how are things going with a new baby at home? Do you have like a night nanny or anything? You got any help?
Nope. It's all me and Jen right now. I will say Jen's out doing some stuff for the wedding today. So grandma and grandpa, her parents are watching Colton, making sure he doesn't do anything crazy while we're gone, making sure he's not throwing any parties. But don't want to leave him home alone just yet.
Yeah, I would say look, I'm not like of great means over here, but if you can swing a night nurse for a month or two at some point, you might try it. It really actually.
We did it for kid 2, wanted to.
Yeah, kid 2 is when we did it as
we're
well.
Like, oh, we want to be parents.
Wife full-time work us, it's like, a couple, it doesn't feel like they're raising your kid necessarily like a nanny might, but you can just sleep through the night.
It's a babysitter.
It's a babysitter at night. It is weird when you walk in your house, if you had to work late or something, maybe you did have one of those 7 o'clock games, and there's just someone on your couch like playing iPhone games. What do you?
I can see that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into it. I know a few of the players here have had night nurses that they recommend very highly, so wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility.
Well, you've had a whirlwind of a couple weeks, man. We appreciate you taking time for this, and let's even up at 500 on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully things can normalize here these next couple weeks.
Yeah, we'll try to settle into whatever our schedule's going to be.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, that's what we're really worried about. We'll have you on next Tuesday, perhaps. I don't know. We'll talk.
Should be good for Tuesday.
All right, bud.
Have
Thanks
a good
so
weekend.
much.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All
Take
right.
care.
That is the great Brandon Aubrey.